Hey, gorgeous. Hey, I'm super duper happy and excited to have you here today, where we will be talking about and uncovering sensuality and what it is, how it relates to the five love languages, as well as the four types of intimacy. So, I am Toria Germain of Toria Germain Photography and Ignite by Toria G. And I create space for women to disrobe from societal standards, whatever someone told them they need or have to be, for them to step into their divine feminine power through boudoir photography. So I am based in Westchester, Ohio, and we're going to get into this. So let me pull some things up. I want to talk about sensuality and what exactly is it? What exactly is sensuality? Sensuality is the enjoyment, expression, or pursuit of physical pleasure. It can be sexual, but in some cases, it does not have to be. It is also considered to be or defined as the condition of being pleasing or fulfilling to the senses. Now, as a feminine woman, I want to be pleasing in all ways, not only for myself, but also for my king, also for my children, for them to get an example of what that looks like. I am the woman of our household, period. And so wherever I go, I want to be pleasing to myself. And that is the intimacy within myself of I feel like I look beautiful and presentable. I feel like I smell good and delicious. And that in itself is a type of intimacy with myself that is also sensual. It opens up ways for me to express myself in a different way than I used to. You know what I mean? So that is a part of it. Excuse me. Intimacy is defined as close familiarity or friendship, closeness. So when we talk about intimacy and sensuality being pleasing to the senses, do I know what I want? Do I know how I want to feel, how I want to present myself, how I want to smell, how I want my hair to be? And to utilize these senses, these forms of senses that we have, taste, touch, smell, sound, can't think of the other one. But to utilize these in a way to learn about yourself, to be intimate with yourself. Now, there are four types of intimacy, and they really go very well with the four bodies of the sensual boudoir blueprint. So let's go through all of them and how they correlate with the boudoir blueprint. Now, for the four types of intimacy, we have emotional, we have intellectual, experimental, and spiritual. These are types of intimacy that you can have within yourself or with someone else. Now, within the sensual boudoir blueprint, there are four bodies. And I talk about these four bodies filling up your cup. Literally, you might have four different bodies or you might stack them. To fill your cup up, as what a lot of women say, you can't pour from an empty cup. You have to continue to pour into your cup so that you are only giving from your overflow. If you give from a full cup, you will be led to burn out very, very easily because your cup will no longer be full if you're pouring from a full cup. But if it is overflowing, you have more than enough. You're getting more than enough, and it's continuing to flow over into those that you love. So, the four bodies of the sensual boudoir blueprint are emotional and mental, which goes into intellectual for the intimacy aspect, experimental, which is the intimacy aspect, but for the blueprint is called physical, and then spiritual. So we have emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual for the blueprint. And for intimacy, we have emotional, intellectual, experimental, and spiritual. And they mesh beautifully together because for you to fully embody your sensuality, you have to be intimate and know who you are and know yourself and how you want to present yourself. Now, how does this go with boudoir at all? The beautiful thing of boudoir is you are being seen and you are utilizing your body to be seen. You want these pictures to put up in your house. You want these pictures to give to your beloved. You want these pictures to remind yourself of how good you looked when you were 30, 40, 50 years old. And so to help women loosen up, because a lot of times they'll say, I don't know what to do with my hands. I'm nervous. They're a little stiff. Like I'll tell you to move something. And you're like that. But to just gracefully allow whatever it is, whatever mental blocks you may have, to allow that to just go. It's okay. Like we got this. And a lot of times what creates those mental blocks is that someone is holding on to an idea or an ideal of what someone told them is sexy or is sensual or something is provocative. Don't do that. But it's really creating that trust with me for me to be able to pose you and make you look good and delicious and yummy so that you can continue to sit in your sensuality even after your boudoir session. Now, for instance, if someone does not get into their sensual body or have an understanding of it or how to fill that cup, either they'll come in drained or they'll come in with a disconnect from their body. Like I might tell them to do something, they're like, "Oh no, that has to look horrible. Like she's gonna make me look terrible," or they're just not really able to take in what I'm telling them to do. It's almost like it goes in one ear and out the other, and that can lead to some unpleasing pictures. So to help women embrace themselves, who they are right now, I want them to be able to be intimate with themselves, and it does not have to be sexual. Now, a quote that I did see the other day while I was just on, I think it says, intimacy is not just experienced through sex, it's crying together. It's late night whispering in a dark room before falling asleep. It's talking about how you grew up and what used to scare you. It's praying together. It's going places together and building memories. Intimacy in marriage is amazing. It really is two people becoming so close, they are one. And that's beautiful. And even for myself, it took a while for me to become one. And to allow things in the past to fall off, because even this says like talking about how you grew up and detaching myself from the pain stories that you may hear or that someone may tell, and allowing yourself to make memories, to build memories that will build into who you want to be, your fantasy self. Like we were talking about confidence stacking before, it's similar to that, of allowing yourself to let go and to fill your cup up with these bodies, these sensual bodies, emotional, mental, physical, spiritual, the things that you want to have in your life. Now, to go deeper into that, I will say what these bodies look like as far as them being fed. For the emotional body, you need connection. You need to be able to talk to someone, a heartfelt conversation. And it doesn't have to be, a confrontation or something happened and I want to like confide in you. It can just be, this is what brings me light and delight. This is what I'm excited about. This is what I'm doing. Intellectual body or mental bodies, which is intellectual intimacy, is more so something like talking about conspiracy theories or trying to bring logic into a situation. You may enjoy doing analytics or math, but it definitely is something that takes problem solving. And to make it even more fun, it could be like landscaping or doing a pattern or quilting or something like that. For the physical body, you need to be fed with physical movement. Literally, it can be dancing, it can be jumping, it can be wrestling your kids, it can be working out, taking a jog, but it is really getting that body into movement. Spiritual body is definitely being able to clear your mind. It is grounding. It is working with crystals. It is meditating. It is journaling. It is praying. It is working on that spiritual aspect of yourself, and that will be your foundation. One of those four will be your foundation of what needs to be fed consistently to make sure everything is balanced. And when that is full, we need to start working into filling the other three that are not our foundational sensuality bodies. That way, you are a fully balanced person who feels full, and your love and capacity continues to expand. When we talk about confidence stacking, I talk about how it's similar to a bubble. And you know how you have more than enough soap on the bubble wand. And so the bubble can expand and expand and expand and expand. It can just get huge because it has more than enough of what it needs. However, if you have just a little bit or just enough soap on the bubble wand, it can only expand so much before it pops. And that's it. And I think of that similar to our capacity to love, our capacity to listen, our capacity to have compassion and heartfelt conversations is directly correlated to our ability to give to ourselves what we need in our sensuality and to be intimate enough with ourselves to be able to pour into that. Now, let's talk about the 5 love languages. Okay, so we will talk about the first one, words of affirmation. That's a type of intimacy. Well, all of them are a type of intimacy. Let's go through all of them. Words of affirmation is a type of intimacy. Acts of service is a type of intimacy. Touch is a type of intimacy. Quality time is a type of intimacy. And gifts is a type of intimacy. And when we talk about intimacy, again, it is closeness, familiarity, or friendship. It is closeness. So, for anyone to be able to love someone in their love language, first of all, you have to be close to them in an intimate type of situation, an intimate type of way. And For you to love them, you want whatever it is that you're doing for them or to them to be pleasing to the senses, which is sensuality. That is what sensuality is defined as, pleasing to the senses. So when we look at gifts, we want to give our lover something that they like. We want to spend time with someone the way that they would appreciate us spending time with. And we may want to add some other senses in there, like the sense of smell, the sense of taste, having food, eating chocolate, having flowers for the sense of smell, touch. You may want to touch them gently. Touch, it was just an act of one of the five love languages. You may want to touch them in the way that they love, the way that excites them. Acts of service, you're going to want to do something that they would appreciate and make it look nice to their standards so that they can appreciate it. Words of affirmation, you're going to want to say things in a certain way that is pleasing. You're going to want to say things in a certain tone that is pleasing, and that goes to the sense of hearing, which is sensuality. So all of these are kind of like intertwining: sensuality, intimacy, the five love languages, the intimacy types. They're all meshing in together because it all takes a quality or a level of the senses for anyone to be able to be sensual with you, pleasing to your senses. And they're going to have to know you and be familiar with you and have some kind of closeness with you for them to be able to do these correctly. Now, this is where it gets very interesting because some women don't know what they like. And that's where we have to sit in our sensuality to allow it to crack open so that we have that closeness and intimacy with self. And it is not, or it does not have to be sexual, but it can be, for you to be able to say, I want this. This is what will make me happy. Because if you can't say what you want or what would please you, nor are you showing that within yourself, there will be no happiness, no joy, no delicious life to be had. So, literally, when you think of the five love languages, because even if it is not your first or second or main love language, all of these things are nice to receive. It is a language of love. And for you to fully fill your cup, you're going to need to utilize the five love languages within the sensuality blueprint to fully love yourself, to fully have that delicious life where you're opening up and ready for that boudoir session. Like, I got it. So I'm going to go into these with the boudoir blueprint. So words of affirmation can be emotional because all of these can be emotional, really, because you're in that close-knit relationship with someone where you're doing some things or saying some things or hearing some things. And so in this words of affirmation, what are you saying to yourself when you mess up, when you do something that you don't like? What are you saying to yourself? Or are you allowing yourself to just make mistakes because that's what life is about? Acts of service. How are you giving to yourself? And this can be tricky because a lot of times acts of service are like, hey, I cleaned the house. But are you cleaning the house because you want the house to be clean? Or are you cleaning the house because it makes you happy? A better one is acts of service, making yourself a bowl bath, creating an atmosphere that is enjoyable for you to wake up to. Even if you have kids, even if you have a husband, creating certain things for yourself, calling the nail salon 3 weeks in advance so that you have an appointment booked and you're ready to go. It's kind of like setting yourself up for what you need to feel full and to feel cared for by yourself. And that can look more so like mental because you're putting the puzzle pieces together to make sure that everything works the way it needs to work for you to feel full. All right. Touch, physical touch. Touch is physical, period. Touch is period. It's physical. Do you know how you like to be touched? Do you know what can bring out the big O for you? Do you know what you enjoy doing with your body? How you enjoy dancing? How you enjoy moving? Yeah, that's as far as I'm going to go on Facebook with this one. All right. Quality time. How do you like to spend your time with yourself? What do you like to do? And that can be mental, it can be emotional, it can be physical, it can be spiritual. This can be all of them, honestly, to love yourself. Because at the end of the day, you are the one person you spend the most time with, period. And then gifts is kind of mental. It can be physical, depending on what kind of gift you're giving yourself. Are you getting a massage? Are you going, on a vacation, which could be physical? What are you doing and how are you doing it? Um, so, yeah, that is what I have for you today as far as how the boudoir blueprint kind of meshes in with intimacy and sensuality for you to be a full, whole woman who is loving her life, living ambitiously, and is a powerhouse. All right. I love you. Ooh, almost went for 30 minutes. And I'll see you later. Bye. Mm-mm-mm.